the reason why we're willing to pay LinkedIn's high prices is access to exactly the right people. We're not wasting impressions on those who wouldn't be a good fit for the company.
Hey guys, we have on the Bob Lowe Show now we have AJ Wilcox. AJ Wilcox is one of the foremost experts when it comes to LinkedIn ads. You know, he's been featured everywhere from social media examiners or the social media marketing world, in all the podcasts. If you search for LinkedIn ads, you'll see AJ Wilcox. You know, he has run one of the biggest LinkedIn advertising accounts. You know, and I always see his content. I always see all his posts on LinkedIn ads, and he is kind enough. Actually, this is our second interview. I lost the first interview. He's such a generous soul, such a generous person, and we're doing this for the second time. So thanks so much, AJ.
Oh, Bob, it's my pleasure. I'm happy to do it a second time. We had such a good conversation the first time.
In the first conversation, I think I went a bit micro, but it was a good conversation. I learned so much from you. Today we're gonna go a bit macro because it's the second time we're doing this. So just first a macro question. How do you get into being the expert for LinkedIn ads?
I think it's probably the same as any other platform. I just had so much experience running a LinkedIn ads account from my last company I worked at. And I ended up growing that to become the largest spending customer worldwide for LinkedIn. And so after running the biggest account for a couple of years, I kind of said to myself, well, I'm having a lot of fun here on this channel that no one's ever heard of, but no one's talking about it. No one's writing about it. The platform is missing that kind of evangelist. And so I went off, I started an ad agency that LinkedIn ads is all we do, and just seek every single day to just share something more about the platform that's going to help advertisers. Actually today, as of today, I've been in business for 5 years. So for the last 5 years, every day, just trying to share and teach about LinkedIn ads. And not that other people can't provide value. I'm sure they will. I'm sure competitors will come and do a lot. But as of right now, it's starting to be a really hot platform, but I don't see a whole lot of people doing anything with it.
Amazing, AJ. What do you see is the trend? So since you've been doing for 5 years, I think last year and this year was the spur of growth for LinkedIn. But how did you see the trend of the growth of LinkedIn ads?
Well, it was interesting. When I very first started using LinkedIn ads, the only ad format was text ads. It was those little 100 by 100 pixel images way off to the side, only visible on desktop. And after a year or so, they came out with sponsored content because they had the news feed now. And then a few years later, they came out with sponsored in-mail. And then they just released dynamic ads a little while ago. So over the last 8 years of playing in LinkedIn ads, I just keep seeing them come out with new inventory, new options. And of course, this whole time, LinkedIn organically has become such a powerhouse. People actually want to come and spend time on the platform. And so there's more interest around marketing on LinkedIn, which brings the interest conversation to ads at some point.
Great stuff. I think let's be honest, and there's a lot of talk out there about LinkedIn ads. Some say it's expensive, some say it's clunky, so for my audience, why should people be on LinkedIn, and what are your thoughts? What do you like about LinkedIn ads?
Well, LinkedIn has two amazing things going for it. That is, number one, the targeting is fantastic for targeting business professionals. The reason why we're willing to pay LinkedIn's high prices is access to exactly the right people. We're not wasting impressions on those who wouldn't be a good fit for the company. And then number two, the fact that this targeting is at I'll say it's at scale. It's near perfect scale in North America, and certainly a lot of growth outside. It's very rare when someone comes to me and they say they have more budget to spend than they can spend on their target audience on LinkedIn. It's, you can reach 95% of your audience if they're white collar.
Great stuff. There are about, I think, 500 million users on LinkedIn right now, and you have very extensive data about your target audience, from their position to their seniority, company size, So many things that you can target when it comes to LinkedIn.
Yeah, and it's amazing to have all that level of data. And then LinkedIn just last week gave us another feature where we can now dig deeper into their targeting. So you can put in a job title now and see what LinkedIn considers their seniority to be, and where they're located geographically, and what industries they're part of. So lots of really cool insights we keep getting into the audience, which is the reason why we're willing to pay LinkedIn prices.
Great stuff. So when it comes to LinkedIn, I think you shared with me, not all businesses should be on LinkedIn. Not every company or every sort of business. So what type of businesses should be on LinkedIn?
Great question. We know because prices are high, and when I talk about them being high, consider it's probably somewhere between about $6 to $9 per click. So we know we're paying a lot for that initial click. And we also know that because this is a social platform, you are getting in front of people not while they're actively searching for you, but just while they're surfing around. So you're not catching bottom of the funnel traffic like search would do. So you're paying a good bit up front for middle of funnel leads. And because of that combination, they've priced themselves out of the market for certain types of companies. So those who I think are a really good fit for LinkedIn is basically anyone with a high lifetime value. If when you close a deal, it's worth $15,000 or more to you, then LinkedIn ads will work near 100% of the time. And that's lead gen, whether it's business to business or business to consumer, just any sort of lead gen works great. Also for white collar recruiting, you can use LinkedIn's ads to target the right people who are already a fit for your job, send them to your job posting page. It also works really well for financial services, again, with those high lifetime values, and higher ed, like MBA programs recruiting new students. If you're outside of that, chances are LinkedIn ads is probably going to be not the channel for you.
Yeah. So just to summarize, high lifetime values, education and recruitment. Basically, that's businesses that really should be on LinkedIn.
Totally.
Yeah. Another thing about LinkedIn ads, if I were to get started, there's so many ad formats. You talked about email, talk about sponsored ads. So what is your favorite ad format out there?
My favorite one is called sponsored content. That's the one that shows up right in the news feed. And it's a really good happy medium between all of the ad formats. It's not the most expensive ad format, and it's not the least expensive. And it doesn't get the least or the most engagement. It's right in the middle. So for just dipping your toe in the water, you can run those. I would go as simple as possible to start. You do the single image version of sponsored content. So there's only two text fields and an image. And if your click-through rate is low, you know that one of those two things wasn't actually engaging to your audience. And that makes it pretty easy to troubleshoot. Whereas something like video ads, if someone's not clicking on your offer, it could be because the video wasn't good, could be because the ad copy wasn't good, or it could be because they didn't match up very well. So just for simple testing purposes, go with plain vanilla sponsored content. And if that works great, then you can start expanding into the other ad formats.
Great. So sponsored content is king. All right. So far when you're doing LinkedIn ads, I know you handle a lot of big advertising accounts. What are some of the amazing results that you experience on LinkedIn ads?
Some of the most amazing are that we know LinkedIn ads is more expensive per click. And let's say you're running it right alongside Facebook. Your Facebook cost per click is going to be lower, but your offers will probably see similar conversion rates. So all else held equal, you're going to look at your Facebook, you're going to look at your LinkedIn and go, wow, LinkedIn's leads cost 3 times more. But if you are sophisticated enough of a marketer to keep watching those leads as they go deeper in your funnel, you're watching them as they turn into marketing qualified, sales qualified leads. When they get the proposal stage or when they close business, what you find is that LinkedIn will oftentimes catch up to and surpass Facebook by the cost per sales qualified lead. So don't give up on LinkedIn just because it looks expensive up front. You got to pay attention to the actual lead quality. The thing that most surprises me is I had a campaign about a month ago where we were doing, this doesn't often happen, so this is why it was surprising. We had a bottom of the funnel offer, someone going straight to sign up, that was converting at twice the rate of Facebook, and their cost per sign up was half that of Facebook, and it's usually the other way around. So it's really fun to see the more expensive platform, because of the quality, beat out the less expensive platform with broader targeting.
Great stuff. I love the comparison between Facebook and LinkedIn ads. You talk about top of the funnel. Normally, how do you build sort of like a funnel on LinkedIn ads? How do you go to the top, or you go to the bottom, or what do you do?
I actually really like to start right in the middle, because if you go to the very top of the funnel, I would consider that like paying $6 to $9 to send someone to a blog post. But blog posts don't have a strong call to action, so they're going to have a low conversion rate, and you're going to end up with a really high cost per conversion. Not that it wouldn't be worth it, but it's quite a bit of a risk. If you go to the bottom of the funnel, you're saying, talk to my sales rep, or open up your wallet and buy something. And it's usually asking too much too soon of cold traffic. But if you can hit right in the middle, something that is gated content. So you're paying a lot per click, and you know that when you get a conversion, someone is at least going to give you their email address, first name, last name, which is a great position to be in. So that's where I suggest starting. And I view LinkedIn very much as the beginning of the funnel. This is reaching your right audience, but this is the first time they've ever heard of you. So this is kind of step one in the funnel. Then once you have their email address, or once you have them in your retargeting audience, now you are using LinkedIn certainly to get that second touch in, but you're also now involving your Google ads and your Facebook ads retargeting and your email marketing automation platform to stay in front of them and give them kind of the next asset in the funnel. So I view LinkedIn as, here's your introduction. What is that offer we can do to get people to give us their information first off? So that becomes step one of the funnel. Then the next steps become a matter of testing from other channels and other angles.
So you're talking more about lead generation ads on LinkedIn. So basically collecting their leads directly through the advertising format on LinkedIn.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point. There are two ways of capturing a lead from LinkedIn. You can send traffic right to your landing page where you have a form. And I really like doing that because that's going to be the highest quality click you can get. But you also have this lead generation form ad, which is very similar to Facebook's lead ads, where someone doesn't even have to leave the LinkedIn experience. When they interact with the ad, a drawer will pop down with a form right in it, and it'll be auto-filled. So all the prospect has to do is just hit submit. So when you use those, you will probably see 10 to 50% more conversions, which is fantastic. But they haven't invested as much into your brand, and so they won't be nearly as high a quality of lead, but certainly that's another way to capture their information at a really high rate.
Okay. So I have another question, right? So when it comes to creative, or comes to the ads for LinkedIn, sort of the content, what are the best practices? So somebody told me that you need to talk about the pain point of the customers, or you need to give a white paper, or you need to give some sort of ebook. So normally when you do all these lead generation ads, what sort of content do you use?
First of all, when you're messaging to someone on LinkedIn, it's a little bit different than everywhere else. Especially when comparing to Facebook, people have time on Facebook. They're there to waste time, and they will read a long paragraph where you're telling them a story. On LinkedIn, though, they're usually there for a reason, and so they don't have time to consume a lot. And you really have to get right to the point. So in my mind, when I'm writing ad copy for LinkedIn, I want two things out of it. Number one, why you should pay attention, and that's maybe pushing on that pain point, or addressing why this is important. And then the second, I want my strong call to action. It's download this white paper or join this webinar so that you can learn these things. And that generally works really well. You just get straight to the point, tell them, respect their time, tell them exactly what they're going to get. They will reward you with a much higher click-through rate. And then with your imagery, it's really similar to Facebook, except there's no 20% rule. You don't have to worry about what's in the image as long as it's not offensive. We know that LinkedIn's color palette is all blues, grays, and whites. And so the job of your image is to stand out to get people to stop scrolling so that they read your ad copy. So as long as your image is, oranges, reds, greens, purples, those kinds of colors, it'll help it stand out and try to avoid stock photos.
Great. I think I have all the components of a great LinkedIn ad. I will do it from the middle of the funnel. I'll do a sponsored content. I will give content like you said just now, and I will do it in the lead generation format. So that's the recipe for a great LinkedIn ad.
Awesome.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the other formats? Like, do you use InMail, or do you use other formats of LinkedIn ads, or do you use the corporate page advertising or anything else?
So we use everything except for the ad format called dynamic ads. We haven't found a good use case for that. The reason why is because they are more expensive than sponsored content on a per click basis, and they have low click-through rates like text ads, which we can cover text ads here in a minute, so you can kind of get a feel for how low that is. So it's just a bad combination of ad format. So I don't recommend that to anyone.
I generally avoid anything dynamic, whether it's Facebook or Google. I'm like, dynamic seems like a mutant to me, so I generally avoid AI getting control of my ads. But
yes, yeah. Dynamic tells me the platform is trying to do something that is my job. So generally it's not great. LinkedIn, they call it dynamic just because they take the prospect's picture and insert them into your ad. So I think that's why they call it dynamic.
That's weird.
It is. It's creepy. At least to some people, they call it creepy. So anyway, don't use that one. But certainly there's a great use case for text ads. There's a great use case for sponsored InMail. InMail is pretty nuanced. What happens is it's not like the other ones where you only pay when someone clicks. That takes a lot of the risk away from you when that happens. But with InMail, you pay 35 to 85 cents to send it to someone with no guarantee that they're going to see that they got it or open it or click on it. So you have to have this offer that people want to click on for this to be successful. And it takes a special kind of offer for that. It's like, we want to invite you as a VIP to this event because of who you are in the industry. That might be attractive enough to make people want to click. We're interested in you for a job opportunity. Like, do you want to apply? Those kinds of offers can work well. But if it's just a join my webinar or download this ebook, it's going to be a really expensive ad format. So I only recommend it about 5% of the time. Text ads are pretty good. They just don't drive a lot of volume. They are LinkedIn's lowest cost. So if you want to, I told you LinkedIn ads are $6 to $9 a click, but with text ads, if that's all you're running, you can get the click cost down to like $3 to $5 per click. And the challenge is that they have a really low click-through rate. It's a 0.025% click-through rate is on average. So that is 2.5 people clicking out of every 10,000 times your ad is shown. So you really do need a pretty large audience for that to spend any money, but it will be very effectively spent.
Great. Thanks so much, AJ. I think I learned so much from LinkedIn ads. I think we got an overview. So thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate you doing this. And thanks so much.
Absolutely, Bob. Have me back anytime.
Yeah.